Porsche 6th Carrera Cup Deutschland.
There will be lots of drama, that is for sure. The gloves are off.
Attacke.
What amazing battles going on.
Da musst du alles auf den Punkt bringen.
Oh my goodness.
Da wird's eng. Wow, da geht einer massiv fliegen.
What an amazing move.
Das ist Rennsport at its best.
Welcome to the Styrian Mountains. Welcome to the Red Bull Ring. Welcome to the penultimate round of the 2024 Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany Championship, race 13 of a 16-race season. And after this weekend, there will be just 2 more races left to go. The rain has been falling on and off, mainly on over the last few days, but it has dried up this morning. There is a dry line on the track, and we are getting ready for this race. It has been challenging conditions in free practice, but it all dried up yesterday in qualifying, and it was Alex Tauscher who scored his second ever pole position in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. A solid qualifying lap. In fact, 2 solid qualifying laps, because spoiler alert for tomorrow, he's made it a double pole for this weekend at the Red Bull Ring. With this, the penultimate round of the season, our eyes turn towards the championship, and in the rookie championship, Robert de Haan, after that stunning drive from the back of the grid, is at the top of the rookie standings. That was at Sachsenring last time out. He leads Cas Havercourt by 14 points. In the Pro-Am standing, Søren Spreng leads Michael Essmann by 18 points. Those 2 championships could be decided this weekend, but it's the overall championship, the Drivers' Championship, that could be decided today, because Larry Tenforder leads Harry King by a massive 51 points, and Harry King has his work cut out if he wants to stay in this championship hunt. The maths is fairly simple. If Larry Tenforder were to win this race, Harry King must finish in 14th place or higher to take the championship into tomorrow. Well, Harry King has done all that he needs to do, because he lines up on the second row of the grid directly in front of Larry Tenforder, who lines up on the third row of the grid. Is Alex Tauscher, who starts on pole position, and alongside him, the driver who became the youngest ever winner in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany last time out at 17 years, 5 months and 9 days, Janis Stiak became the 6th first-time winner in this 2024 season. A stunning statistic. Cas Havercourt was another driver who's taken his first win this season, as has been the case for Robert de Haan, Marvin Plan, who we welcome back this weekend, Alex Tauscher, Theo Overhaus, and of course Janis Stiak. Lots of new drivers coming to the fore in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany, giving the old school something to think about. Larry Tenforder, who is the most successful driver in the history of this series, looking for his 4th championship. He's the defending champion. He's the points leader. He could clinch the championship in this race, but it's going to take some pretty bad luck for Harry King and some pretty good luck for Larry Tenforder, because that 51 points, it is a massive gap, but there are still 100 points available this season. 25 points for a win, 20 points for second place. There's another of our first-time winners this season, Theo Overhaus for Bonk Motorsport. And just to mention to his teammate, Carol Krent, who we saw having that big accident in the second race at the Sachsenring last time out. The car was in a pretty poor state. I think there's a new shell that's had to be prepared for that. But we're sad to say that Carol Krent, not in such good shape. He's damaged his hand as a result of that accident in which he was the innocent party. We say get well soon, Carol. We're looking forward to seeing you hopefully back on the grid at Hockenheim. Your teammate Theo Overhaus, looking for his second win of the season, starts in 8th place on the grid. It is a short, sharp race. If you're new to Porsche Carrera Cup Germany, strap yourself in because this is spectacular. 30 minutes plus 1 lap of explosive action around this legendary circuit, the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg in the Styrian Mountains, a circuit that is 4.318 kilometers around. That equates to 2.683 miles, 10 turns, 7 of them to the right and 3 of them to the left. We hope it's going to stay dry today. We certainly hope it's going to stay dry for this race. There are a lot of ominous clouds around, but the forecast is saying it should hopefully stay dry till at least lunchtime. As we look out of turn 1, the car's heading towards turn 2 and up the hill towards turn 3. Let's have a look at the grid. Alex Tauscher, his second ever pole position with Janis Stiak for company. Harry King with all the work to do. Cass Havercourt also needs the points in the Rookie Championship. On the third row, championship leader Larry Tenforder. Senna van Serlen, the driver who has been getting quicker and quicker every time we've seen him. That's also the case of Colin Berninghausen. He's been very impressive here all week. Theo Overhaus alongside him for company. Flint Schering, the very rapid Dutchman, alongside another rapid Dutchman in the shape of Huub van Eindhoven. Robert De Haan, rookie leader, a long way back for him, as is also the case of Ariel Levy. Behind there, Marvin Klan and Nathan Sharp on row 7 of the grid. Row 8, Sebastian Freimuth and James Kellett from the UK in 16th place. And then on row 9, Jan Seifert, Horst Felix Felbermayr. Horst Felix enjoying his home race here at the Red Bull Ring. Gianluca Tucciaroglu, Mr. Entertainer from Sachsenring, lines up alongside the leading Pro-Am driver in the shape of Søren Spreng. His main championship rival, Michael Esman, is just behind, as is Kai Pfister. We welcome Robert Schlussen to the grid in Allied Racing, and Keanu Bloom had a tough time in qualifying with a lap. His quick lap disallowed starts from the very back of the pack. And on the subject of laps disallowed, track limits, they are always a hot topic here at the Red Bull Ring. And they are a hot topic this weekend. We've seen it in all the sessions so far. Many drivers exceeding track limits and having their laps taken away. If they exceed track limits in this race, they may well find themselves with a time penalty. The big areas to look out for are turn 1, where there's a big runoff area, and turn 10. Well, there's some bollards on turn 10 that the drivers must stay inside of. If they go around or heaven forbid over the bollards, then they will pick up some kind of penalty. So the stewards will be looking at that. I have a feeling we may see some track limits issues before this weekend is out. So the cars just forming up on the grid, a little bit damp in places, expecting all cars to be starting on dry weather tyres, but you can see those damp patches, and I have to tell you, if they get out on those damp patches, it is like driving on ice. So Alex Tauscher starting on pole position for the second time in his career in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. We've seen him getting better and better as this season has gone on. He was second in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe over the winter, and then taking his first win here, and that was at the Nürburgring, but here in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. Right, a quick lights on, a quick lights off, because Alex Tauscher is gone, but a poor start for Janis Stiak, instantly mugged by Harry King. That was a very rapid start off of the grid. So into turn 1 they come. A great start for Alex Tauscher, but a poor start for Janis Stiak. The block the cars behind. Harry King was able to jump in front. Cass Havercourt up into 3rd place. Now up towards the flat out turn 2, up the very steep hill, under braking in towards turn 3. The right-hander, and a gap on the inside that Harry King can see. The rest of the cars filing through. They're allowed to go a little bit wide on this opening lap just to make the space, but the lights went out a lot quicker than any of us expected, and I think it might have caught Janis Stiak napping a little bit, but it's Alex Tauscher who leads the way from Harry King, the first and second, just breaking clear. There's Larry Tenforder in the 5th place, alongside Janis Stiak, the driver that he is mentoring at the moment, but he's got a championship that needs to be won. Gianluca Tucciaroglu into the gravel. Such a shame. Drama to Flint Schering and Colin Berninghausen as well. Now, I reckon we're going to get a safety car here, because the car that is stranded in the gravel. I don't think that's going anywhere soon, and Gianluca Tucciaroglu may need a helping hand out. Right, out towards turn 9 and 10. Safety car is out. Harry King looked like he was lining up Alex Tauscher to try and make a move for the lead, but the safety car is out. Such a shame. Gianluca Tucciaroglu, who was so rapid at the Sachsenring. We saw him going 3 abreast at one point as he moved his way through the pack. Had a tough time in qualifying that frustrated him, and a tough race here in race 13 of the season. So the start of the race, I think the lights went to red and then they went off very, very quickly. It is a random timing, but I think many of the drivers weren't quite expecting it as quickly as they did. Certainly I wasn't. And it was a good anticipation from Alex Tauscher, though, so he was able to lead. Harry King, he did a great job to jump into second place, getting past Janis Stiak, who was very slow out of the blocks. So, cars behind the safety car, everybody calms down for a bit. Our leading rookie driver is Cas Havercourt. He's in 3rd place. Our leading Pro-Am driver is Søren Spreng. He's in 19th place. And you can see that Gianluca Tucciaroglu is very frustrated. He was high hopes coming into this weekend. We're looking down at turn 4 at the moment, and Tucciaroglu just going wide. There's Keanu Bloom and Mikael Essmann, who look to make a little bit of contact. Bloom just going deep into the corner as well. It's been investigated by the race stewards, but there's Keanu Bloom in the green and yellow car. There's Mikael Essmann. They make it onto the escape road. But Gianluca Tucciaroglu with smoke coming from the car. Now, this is on board with Keanu Bloom. This will be an interesting perspective. Up ahead of him, Gianluca Tucciaroglu goes out wide. And, well, whether there was maybe a bit of contact with Mikael Essmann as well, but Bloom also going deep into the corner. Let's have a look here. And Essmann had Søren Spreng on the inside. So Essmann had bounced off Søren Spreng, potentially into Keanu Bloom, who had bounced off into Gianluca Tucciaroglu. And you can see how frustrated Tucciaroglu is, ending his day very early on. And I reckon the incident between 91.54 and 42, they might have car 5 that they'll be looking at there as well. There's Colin Berninghausen having a bit of a moment, trying to get inside of Flint Scheuring. Colin Berninghausen has found some real pace as this season has gone on. But there's Keanu Bloom. A bit of a miserable day so far, starting last now with part of the left front wing also flailing from that car. And that's brought the safety car out. So, with the cars behind the safety car, it's Alex Tauscher who is the leader. Harry King in 2nd place, then Cas Havercourt, then Larry Tenforder up to 4th place. Janis Stiak, after that poor getaway, recovers to 5th, then Senna van Serlen, Colin Berninghausen, Flint Scheuring. Keep an eye on those three very rapid rookies, currently in 6th, 7th and 8th. Theo Overhaus, the driver who won last time out at Sachsenring, in 9th place, and Huub van Eindhoven. Oriol Levy, uncharacteristically, a long way back in 11th. He had a tough qualifying session as well. He said before the race, get ready for some overtaking practice. Well, this is your chance. He's got 25 minutes in which to do it, but he can't do it at the moment because the safety car is out. And of course, there is strictly no overtaking behind the safety car. James Kellett has made it up to 14th place on the lineup as well. The driver from Great Britain in the number 44 car, the car that's identical to Keanu Bloom, who is such a quick driver. Incredibly frustrated because he hasn't been able to get the car maybe underneath him that will show off his talents. He is so quick, and he really felt as though he should be challenging for the top 6, and so say all of us. Safety car is coming in on this lap. Alex Tauscher, you can see, weaving to keep the heat in the tyres. He becomes the de facto safety car once the safety car has disappeared into the distance, which it has done. And then it's Alex Tauscher's decision when to hit the accelerator. He says now in towards turn 10, you know that very shortly he is going to feel the full pressure of Harry King. Harry has nothing to lose here. He knows he needs points. He needs big points if he wants to take this championship all the way to the last round. Theo Overhaus having a little look to the inside of Flint Schuring, heading up into turn 1. The rest of the cars coming through. Theo Overhaus having a little slide as he comes around the corner. But Tauscher has Harry King covered off at the moment. Turn 2, which is taken absolutely flat out. Up the hill towards turn 3 they come. Under braking the right-hand turn, Theo Overhaus to the inside of Flint Schuring, trying to make a place up. There was Colin Bernighausen ahead of him, but a heavy braking from Theo Overhaus as he tries to fight his way forwards. But the car's continuing. There is... looks like Sebastian Freimer also challenging for the position further back. But the first two, as we saw before, just breaking clear from Cas Havercourt in third place. Theo Overhaus getting very scruffy on the exit of the corner, and all that does is open the door to let through Cas to Van Eindhoven from behind. Robert De Haan, the driver who came from the back of the pack at the Saxon Ring to win the rookie race, trying to do something similar here. Well, he's not from the back, but he's certainly a lot further back than he would have liked. Challenging Theo Overhaus for position. That's 9th place that Theo Overhaus is in. Our race leader looking very much under pressure from Harry King. Needs to hold it all together, needs to keep his eyes in front and not be too distracted by the rear view mirror. The car's heading out of turn 10 and out along the pit straight towards turn 1. We come once again up to speeds of 235 kilometers an hour in 5th gear, then the heavy braking, the 3rd gear corner, about 110, 111 kilometers an hour, and then out towards turn 2 they come, fighting further back. You can see several position challenges. Flint Schuring very much in the wars. He's got a lot of pace in that car, but he's gone wide there on the gravel, and that's dropped him back in the pack. Also looking from the perspective of Theo Overhaus and Keanu Bloom, on board with Keanu Bloom at the moment, as that Søren Spreng. Certainly that is the guesting number 99. Great to have Robin Schlunsen here as part of the Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany racing this weekend. He is scoring points. He's a substitute driver for Allied Racing, so he is scoring points. He's not down as a guest, but Robin Schlunsen, the 40-year-old from Denmark, in the Allied Racing seat. He's come from Danish touring cars and Formula Renault, and and as we speak, the car parked up at the side of the track with smoke coming from it. So he's had a bit of a moment. Car 99. Now, whether that's tyre smoke or something worse, you can see the black tracks. I think it was just the smoke. He's clearly had a very big moment. He's able to rejoin in a car that looks suspiciously like the car that Bastian Buus was running last year. Let's have a look, see what happened into turn 4 under braking. Was there contact from Kai Pfister? I think there might have been. Well, that's where the smoke came from. I think he kept his foot buried on the accelerator. It all looks very good, but I should think those tyres will have a very large flat spot on them after that. Right, here we go. First, second, they're broken clear. Then 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all in a row. Alex Tauscher looks to have Harry King covered off at the moment. He has the fastest lap at 132.607. Last time around, Harry King was a little under, well, about 0.4 of a second slower. But Alex Tauscher has the advantage of an open track in front of him. Looking down at turn 4, the downhill section, a lot of undulation on this track, and you don't realise it until you actually walk around it. I ran around it last night. The climb up to turn 3 is an absolute killer. I have to tell you, it is very steep. There's also quite a climb up into turn 1 as well. A lot of undulation on this track. The cameras tend to flatten it out a little bit, and you don't appreciate quite how much undulation there is. There is Ariel Levy in 12th place with James Kellett, who would dearly love to get up into a higher points paying position. The car from the UK, number 44 for ID Racing, the driver who has proven himself so much in Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain and many other categories, and now mixing it with the big boys in Porsche Carrera Cup Germany. There's Keanu Bloom just coming through your picture as well, with that left front wing flailing in the wind up towards turn 1. We come again. Still Tauscher, 0.6 of a second, nearly 0.7 of a second over Harry King. We know that Harry King is going to put the pressure on at some point, because that's what Harry King does. There's Keanu Bloom, the car with the aerodynamic disadvantage, but he's still there at the moment in 19th place. We've had a number of track limit infringements. I'm just looking at my timing screen. Harry King is one of them. He's had 2 track limit infringements. So Harry King will need to be careful, because the stewards are taking a look at track limits. Car 23 is another one. That's Huub van Eindhoven, who's also very much under investigation. He's had a couple of warnings as well. No penalties or anything have been issued at the moment. If the race were to finish now, it would go on to tomorrow. Larry Tenforder would have his points gap reduced to 44 points. After the race today, there will be 75 points on the table. So Harry King is not out of it. He's going to rely on Larry Tenforder having some pretty bad luck. But in these tricky conditions, where it can rain, where all sorts of things can happen here at the Red Bull Ring, anything can happen. And that 44-point lead could evaporate at a moment's notice. Harry King very much... well, he's going to have to push as hard as he can at the front, but he's really relying on Larry Tenforder having some pretty bad luck to get back properly into the championship hunt. Our leading rookie, Gas Havercourt, there in 3rd place. And he too needing all the points he can get. 14 points adrift of Robert De Haan. And if the race were to finish now, then he would be able to close up, because Robert De Haan at the moment in 10th place. And he is... I'm just counting back, 4th place in the rookies. Right, challenging further back for positions. Theo Overhaus having a lively race. There's Robert De Haan who's with him. So De Haan doing what he does best, and that is coming through the pack. Such impressive driving from the young Dutchman, and very impressive driving from Alex Tauscher, despite all the pressure from behind, still leading the way ahead of Harry King. The view from the windscreen of Robert De Haan, that is Theo Overhaus, the 9th place car ahead of him. And Robert De Haan, a little bit of a tap, just trying to unsettle the Bonk Motorsport Porsche. You can see Theo Overhaus having to fight hard. De Haan sees the gap on the inside. He puts the car into that gap and tries to work his way through, but the inside rapidly becomes the outside. Suddenly he no longer has the faster line. The 2 cars running absolutely side by side. Overhaus with his nose just in front. These 2 drivers, absolute up-and-coming talents. Overhaus squeezes back in front out of turn 10 along the pit straight. Now surely Robert De Haan is going to make his challenge, flashing the lights, heading up towards turn 1. Up the steep hill to turn 1 they come. Overhaus doing whatever he can to defend that position, but he cannot change lines under braking in the background. Marvin Klan is there as well in 11th place, looking to take advantage of these 2 cars get together in front of him. The flat out turn 2. The car that has Robert De Haan at the wheel, prepared by Timo Bernhard's team, the Team 75 Bernhard Racing. And still Robert De Haan not able to find a route through. So Theo Overhaus making the number 34 car as wide as he possibly can. Out towards turn 4 they come. Once again, De Haan has a little look to the outside, then ducks back to the inside. There's a gap there now. He picks up a bit of curb. He launches himself through. Overhaus is squeezed wide. He loses not 1, but 2, maybe 3 places, as Ariel Levy also tries to take advantage of the gap. But also in there as well, James Kellett in 13th place, trying to make it 12th. Just behind the Israeli driver, Ariel Levy, a lot further back in the pack than he's been used to recently. Fighting for every position. Theo Overhaus just holding him off, but now Ariel Levy has James Kellett breathing down his exhaust pipe, looking for that 12th place. Out towards turn 9 they come. Here come the rest of the pack. In towards turn 10, keeping inside of those bollards. Out onto the pit straight once again. Are we going to see any moves? There's a car going slowly. Now, who is that? Is that Dehaan? Trying to see who that is that's going slowly. No, it's Janis Stiak, Dehaan's teammate. So Janis Stiak with problems. He very wisely gets off the racetrack. Up into turn 1, Robert Dehaan, Janis Stiak, teammates in identical cars, and all the Robert Dehaan fans breathe a sigh of relief as Janis Stiak pulls off to the side. Janis Stiak, the driver who stole the headlines at the Sachsenring, becoming the youngest ever winner in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. He then went on to become the youngest ever winner in Porsche Carrera Cup Italia, and let's have a look and see if we can find out what happened. That's Dehaan that we're looking at there on the inside of Theo Overhaus, who got the squeeze. But yes, Janis Stiak, who also went on to become the youngest ever winner last weekend in Porsche Carrera Cup Italia. So one of the absolute superstars coming up through the ranks, one of many. And anybody who thought Porsche Carrera Cup Germany was just for the old boys, it's certainly not. So many of these young talents who are really ruffling a few feathers. Theo Overhaus is one of them, but he's been very much in the wars here as we look down on him. Great camera angle. Right. At the front, Alex Tauscher still leading the way. Fastest lap of the race now in the hands of Cas Havercourt at 1:32.482. So that gap between second and third, just a fraction over a second between second and third, is closing up. Larry Tenforder having a fairly quiet race in fourth place, maybe thinking about the bigger picture. He does not need to record a DNF, he just needs to get a few points and bring it home. Mikael Esman has taken the lead of the Pro-Am race. With Kai Pfister in second, Søren Spreng has dropped down to third. So something has occurred in the Pro-Am race. While we've been watching all of these battles, Mikael Esman has jumped into the lead of the Pro-Am race. Kai Pfister in second place and Søren Spreng in third. So that's some drama that's been going on further back. They're running 19th, 20th and 21st on the track and running very much together. At the front, Tauscher has this covered off at the moment. Harry King about half a second behind. Then it's Cas Havercourt with the fastest lap. Larry Tenforder, Senna van Serlen in the gold and white car in fifth place ahead of Colin Bernighausen. We can see Colin there with Hu van Eindhoven trying to move his way back up through the pack and move his way forwards into something closer to a podium position. No, Senna van Serlen in that fifth place. And he has had a sixth place at the Sachsenring. That was his best result of the year so far. So if he can finish where he is now in the gold and white number 12 target competition car, that will be his best ever finish in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. Colin Bernighausen increasingly under pressure from Hu van Eindhoven. Saw van Eindhoven having a little look in towards turn 1. This is our race leader, first and second. They're well clear of Cas Havercourt at the moment, but Havercourt trying hard to reel in that gap between second and third. You know that Harry King is not done yet. Harry King will never settle for second place, and he knows that he's got a little over 11 minutes plus one lap to challenge Alex Tauscher, the driver who took his first win in race 2 at the Nürburgring a few weeks ago. Starting on pole position in this race, has led every lap so far, but Harry King needs the points. His main championship rival, Larry Tenforder, in the number 1 gold and black car, down in fourth place at the moment. Alex Tauscher has been given a warning for track limits, but I have to tell you, he is in good company. There are so many track limit infringements on my timing screen that, well, the screen isn't big enough. There's many warnings that have been given for track limits, and that's why I said this race may well have some stewarding intervention before we are done and dusted. The drivers really need to keep it tight. You can see the bollards, well, you should be able to if somebody hasn't taken them out, on the exit of turn 10, and they must stay on the inside of those. Out towards turn 1, another area where track limits are such an issue. Here into turn 1 we come. Tauscher takes a nice wide line and ducks back in to turn 1. He comes. very much under control at the moment. Now, absolutely flat out around turn 2, getting up into 5th gear, going to reach speeds of about 235 kilometers an hour before the heavy braking of turn 3. 1st gear corner, 60 kilometers an hour. Harry King to the inside, squeezes Alex Tauscher. The two cars absolutely side by side. It is Allied Racing versus Proton Huber competition. Side by side out towards turn 4. Harry King will have the inside line and he steals the lead away. Alex Tauscher, having led every lap so far, now drops back into 2nd place. Meanwhile, Robert Schlunsen has been awarded a penalty lap for forcing par 5 off the track. So we wondered what had happened to Søren Spreng. Well, the answer is he got forced off the track by car 99. Robin Schlunsen, the driver making his debut here, the driver that we saw in that cloud of smoke earlier, and he will have to visit the penalty box. Right, let's have another look at this challenge for the lead. The two cars running absolutely level. You just know that Harry King had been lining this one up, but it was into turn 4. The last of the late breakers. Harry King keeping it all together and slotting in front of Alex Tauscher. But Alex, a 2nd place still will be a really strong position if he can bring it home into that position. Cas Havercourt still the leading rookie in 3rd place at the moment. 2nd in the rookies, Senna van Sierlen in 5th place ahead of Colin Bernighausen. Robert De Haan, you can see while we've been looking at this, has been moving his way through the pack. He's up into 9th place. Marvin Klein in 8th place, just ahead of him. Marvin, who was absent from the previous round, he was in Porsche Carrera Cup Italia, not really in the championship hunt. There are just 4 drivers in the overall championship hunt, but realistically it is between Larry Tenford and Harry King. Theo Overhaus and Robert De Haan are mathematically still in it, but it's looking fairly unlikely, and if the race were to finish as it was now, well, certainly Robert De Haan would be eliminated from the equation, and I think Theo Overhaus would too. So the fighting continues. Further back, Theo Overhaus never want to back out of it, but with Robert De Haan squeezing his way in front, forcing his way forwards to the inside of Marvin Klein once again, showing what he's made of. Phenomenal stuff, Robert De Haan. Whoever said you couldn't overtake around the Red Bull Ring were very much mistaken. A little puff of smoke from the back of the Theo Overhaus car, but Robert De Haan leaving them in his wake in the background. That's James Kellett coming through as well. So Marvin Klein getting relegated several positions as he gets squeezed. Flint Schuring also finding a route through, so that'll be into 12th place. But Robert De Haan, once again, great progress up into 8th place. Always pushing, always fighting forwards. Across the line we come. Once again, less than 7 minutes plus 1 lap of this race remaining. Harry King has already opened up a gap of about 1.3 seconds over Cas Havercourt because something's happened to Alex Tauscher. He's down into 4th place. While we've been watching this, Alex Tauscher has dropped back into the clutches of Senna van Sierlen. So van Sierlen suddenly looking at that 4th place, and what has happened to Alex Tauscher? The driver who started on pole position has led the majority of this race, now suddenly no longer in a podium position, looking down from turn 4, looking vulnerable to Senna van Sierlen. Van Sierlen in 5th, Alex Tauscher in 4th. Out of turn 4 towards turn 5 they come. Turn 5, that is taken in 4th gear at about 200 kilometers an hour, around to turn 6, a 3rd gear corner about 120 kilometers an hour, fairly technical part of the circuit, around to turn 7 and then 8, and then it's getting lined up ready for 9 and 10 to get a good exit out of 10, gives the opportunity to overtake along the pit straight. So Alex Tauscher, I'm looking at his lap times, he lost 5 seconds on his lap time last time around, so I'm wondering whether he had a bit of a moment. He looks to be back up to speed now. So Senna van Sierlen, though, will have his eyes on that 4th place to improve what could be his best ever finish in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. Just behind them is Colin Bernighausen as well. His best result has been a 7th place so far. So he too looking to earn his best ever finish in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany if the race finished exactly as it is now. Harry King doing exactly what he needed to do. If he could bring it home in first place, there's nothing more that he could do for the championship. A little tap from behind from Theo Overhaus onto Robert de Haan, and that is because Robert de Haan has been given a penalty lap, and that is for track limits infringements. So penalty lap for Robert de Haan. All that progress, all that hard work. You saw him ducking off into the penalty box. He has to pass through it at no more than 50 kilometers an hour. And this is what happened. So he had to slow down. He's on the exit of turn 3. He had to duck into that penalty box. Theo Overhaus was just impatient to get past him. So track limits infringements, the first of the big runners to have had intervention from the race stewards. Robert de Haan had to visit the penalty lap, and penalty lap also for Keanu Bloom. That is for track limits as well. So the penalty laps are now starting to come in the closing laps of this race, and the reason that Alex Tauscher dropped down is that he too had a penalty lap. Did not see it on screen. So the reason that Alex Tauscher dropped down into 4th place was that he received a penalty lap, and that is why there was that additional 5 seconds onto his lap time, and that was for exceeding track limits. We've got so many track limits warnings popping up on the timing screen. They're getting lost. There are literally rows and rows of track limit warnings on my timing screen, and one of those was our early race leader, Alex Tauscher, and that is why he is now down in 4th place, being challenged by Senna van Sturlen, who is in 5th. So Theo Overhaus in 9th place is who we are riding on board there. Just ahead of him, James Kellett up into 8th place. What a phenomenal drive from the driver from Great Britain, and ID Racing moving his way forwards up into 8th place. A great overtaking from him. Just up ahead of him is Huub van Eindhoven, Flint Scheuring and Marvin Clan also running side by side. This is for 11th place. Flint Scheuring under pressure. Marvin Clan trying to come through round the outside. At the front, Harry King is still leading the way. There is the fight that we're watching at the moment for 11th place. Just ahead of them is Ariel Levy, lined up behind Flint Scheuring, Marvin Clan, Nathan Sharp, Sebastian Freiman in there as well, and Robert de Haan after all that hard work. And they drive through the penalty lap, and he having to do all the hard work again, but time is running out. Just 2.25 minutes remaining of this race. Look how wide Flint Scheuring goes. He tucks back in out of turn 10, desperate not to exceed the track limits. And there is Alex Tauscher in 4th place after that visit. And this is, I think we're going to see now, this is where he had to go through the penalty box. Oh, it's Robert de Haan's. Robert de Haan and Alex Tauscher, very similar livery. There is Alex Tauscher going through the penalty box. So the stewards getting involved, and what looked like such great pace and looked like potential podium stolen away in a very cruel fashion. But 4th place still would be a good finish with 1.5 minutes remaining plus 1 lap of this race. Poor old Keanu Bloom is going to have to go back into the penalty box again for not serving his previous penalty lap correctly. So car 42 has been requested to go back into the penalty box and serve another penalty lap. Meanwhile, Flint Scheuring, he's been alongside another car pretty well for the whole of this race, continuing to fight his way. You see him there, he's in 11th place at the moment. In fact, he's been relegated a couple of places there. I think he's down to 13th now because Robert de Haan continuing to push back, another of the great overtakers in this race. Robert de Haan and James Kellett, the 2 drivers who have overtaken so many cars in this race. That has been 30 minutes just coming up to that. There are less than 45 seconds remaining of this race. So it's going to be this lap and 1 more for Harry King. But he can come across and take what will be his 5th win ever in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. There is de Haan, the driver who has been in the wars If you want a definition of never say die, look at what Robert de Haan does in a race. Just always pushing forwards, doing what he can, getting as many points. Just behind him, Nathan Sharp, then Sebastian Freimer, then Flint Schuring, and then Jan Seifert there in 16th place. So the clock has struck 0. Our race leader at the moment is up at turn 7. Here he is, Harry King. So he'll complete this lap, and then it'll be one more after that. I've got one eye on my screen, the other now on the timing screen. I don't want to miss any more penalties that might be given because track limit infringements are coming up literally every few seconds on the screen, and the race stewards might not be done yet. Of course, Larry Tenforder is elevated up into a podium position as a result of the penalty that was issued to Alex Tauscher. So valuable points for Larry Tenforder. And that's not what Harry King wanted to see. He sees the final lap board at the moment. In towards turn 1 he comes. The rest of the field continuing on their way behind. It's Cas Havercourt in second place, the leading rookie driver. Second in the rookies, Senna van Serlen in 5th overall. Then it's Colin Bernighausen in 6th place. Mikael Esman leads in the Pro-Ams ahead of Kai Pfister and Søren Spreng. Exactly what Mikael Esman needs to close in on Søren Spreng in the Pro-Am Championship. Theo Overhaus in 9th place. That's James Kellett ahead of him. James up into 8th place at the moment, coming under pressure from Theo Overhaus. 8th place is James Kellett's best score so far this season. He's had an 8th at Imola, he's had an 8th at Oschersleben. He would love to make it an 8th at the Red Bull Ring, but he needs to hold off Theo Overhaus, the driver who takes no prisoners, into turn 4. Kellett has the racing line. Overhaus has a little look to the outside. Ariel Levy too far back to do anything about getting involved in this fight. James Kellett will try and make that green and yellow Porsche as wide as he can, but Theo Overhaus likes to get his elbows out and will have his eyes on that 8th place ahead of him. But at the front of the pack, Harry King continues to lead the way. He's out of turn 9 already, in towards turn 10. It's gonna be a win for Great Britain's Harry King. He keeps the championship alive. It goes to tomorrow. Second across the line and winning in the rookies, Cas Havercourt. Third is our championship leader, Larry Tenforder. Pole sitter Alex Tauscher in 4th. Senna van Serlen, Colin Bernighausen recording their best ever finishes in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany in 5th and 6th. Hu van Eindhoven, James Kellett equaling his best ever finish from so far back as well. He'll be delighted with that in 8th place ahead of Theo Overhaus. Ariel Levy rounding out the top 10, and then Marvin Clun, Robert de Haan after visiting the penalty box in 12th place, and in 4th place in the Rookie Championship ahead of Nathan Sharp. Sebastian Freimer in 14th ahead of Flint Schuring, who spent most of the race alongside another car with his elbows out. This is all very much subject to confirmation. The stewards have had an awful lot of track infringements to look at. I don't know how many there were, but they were scrolling through my timing screen so quickly we could not keep up with it. But provisionally at the moment, the race winner, Harry King, second, Cas Havercourt, and third, Larry Tenforder. Alex Tauscher, our pole sitter. In 4th place, Senna van Serlen, Colin Bernighausen, 2 of the real up-and-coming superstars ahead of Hu van Eindhoven and James Kellett. Great to see 2 British flags on the top 8, speaking from a slightly biased position there. In 9th place will be Theo Overhaus, who was very much in the wars all the way through that. And then Ariel Levy, fairly quiet race by his standards. Then Marvin Clun in 11th ahead of Robert de Haan. Nathan Sharp, Sebastian Freimer, Flint Schuring, those are the last of the overall point scorers. Jan Seifert in 16th place. 17th was Horst Felix Feldmeier enjoying his local race. Then Keanu Bloom, another driver who was in trouble with the stewards and had to take that second penalty lap as a result of not serving the first one correctly. And then Mikael Esman taking a win in the Pro-Am category. That'll be his 3rd win of the season in the Pro-Am race ahead of Kai Pfister and Søren Spreng. It means that the championship has a lot of mileage in it on each case. So Larry Tenforder with a third. That will move him up to 245 points. Harry King with the win. That moves him up to 203. So a 42-point gap. There are still 75 points left on the table, so it's not all over yet. In the Rookie Championship, Robert De Haan with fourth in the rookies. Cas Havercourt with a win in the Rookie Championship. That moves Cas Havercourt to within 2 points of Robert De Haan in the rookie standings. In the Pro-Am standings, Søren Spreng with a third place and second in the Pro-Am Championship. The winner of the Pro-Am race today, Mikael Esman, that moves him to within 13 points of Søren Spreng. So all three of the championships, there's Harry King into Parc Fermé. All three of the championships closing up as a result of this race. There's Jan Kasperlik, the man who does so much to nurture new talent and existing talent in motorsport. He's brought so many good drivers through the ranks of Allied Racing. He's provided the car for Harry King that has won this race. There is the defending champion, the points leader, Larry Tenforder. And I believe that's Peter Siebert who he's talking to. Peter, who is Alex Tauscher's race engineer, very much the man behind Alex Tauscher's step up in form, has been engineering and tutoring him. And of course, they are both for Proton Huber competition, both Larry Tenforder and Alex Tauscher. But Larry, a podium, that's all he wanted. That's all he came for, really, just to keep picking up those points. Harry King, though, scoring his win in Porsche Carrera Cup Germany, his fifth win. He got a win, the season opener last year at Spa. He had 2 wins at Imola this year. He got a win at the Nürburgring, and now he wins at the Red Bull Ring. His nemesis, Larry Tenforder, 2 positions behind. Both drivers have been fighting tooth and nail in Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup as well. But Harry King looking pretty satisfied. Did what he came to do and has closed in on the championship leader, Cas Havercourt. Solid drive from him. There is the third place car, Larry Tenforder, the driver who's announced his retirement from Cup racing at the end of this season. Wants to go out in style, leading the championship. Cas Havercourt, who by my reckoning has closed in to 2 points of Robert De Haan in the Rookie Championship. Another of the drivers who's taken his first ever win in 2024 and a second place in the race here today. But the winner, Harry King for Allied Racing, taking his third win of the season and his 5th win in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany in the 2 years that he's been in it. A really fast, competitive driver. He was the champion in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. Came so close to the championship in Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. And still continuing to put the pressure on Larry Tenforder. So victory for Harry King. Brilliant stuff. So it is Cas Havercourt who will be top step of the podium for the rookies, ahead of Senna van Seulen and Colin Bernighausen. Really good jobs for them. Now, Cas Havercourt, that'll be his 4th win in the Rookie Championship. Right, 42 points is the gap. I've been sat here doing the sums. Good heavens, we even collate with each other there. So Larry Tenforder and Harry King. It means that Theo Erlehouse is out of the championship hunt, as indeed is the case for Robert De Haan. But let's face it, they were, although mathematically in it, it was never really going to happen with 75 points available after today. but that gap of 42 points, it is a shootout between Larry Tenforder and Harry King, but it ain't all over till it's over. We've got 3 more races remaining, and a DNF from either of the drivers could swing the championship one way or another. There's the rest of the scores scrolling through. In the rookies, as I mentioned before, by my calculations, Robert DeHaan leads by just 2 points from Cass Havercourt. In the Pro-Am race, they scored less points in the Pro-Am, so it's 13 points for a win in the Pro-Am, 10 points for a second, 8 points for a third. So, 13-point gap between first and second. Zoran Sprang leading Mikael Esman. Ahmed Al-Shihab now well and truly out of the hunt, and he has gone by the wayside this season. We saw him up until it was the end of Budapest, and he has not returned after that. So it is very much a 2-horse race. In the Pro-Am race as well, I haven't even mentioned the team championship. Coming into this weekend, Proton Huber leading Universe Server by Team GP Elite by 57 points. The 2 highest scoring cars per team score points. And I'm not going to work out the exact maths, but I think that Proton Huber will have extended their lead somewhat as a result of that race. Having said that, Cass Havercourt in second place. He would have got a good points haul there, but Larry Tenforder in third. So actually, maybe the gap would have closed up a little, but certainly Proton Huber competition will still continue to lead the way in the team championship. You can see there's an enormous crowd here gathered at the Red Bull Ring, part of the DTM package. A wonderful event. We've got GT Masters and GT4 Germany here as well this weekend. Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany, which always steals the show. The noise and the speed of Porsche Carrera Cup Germany. And it is always a real celebration of motorsport when we're part of the DTM package, as we are for the majority of the rounds for Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. We're just waiting for the drivers to make their way up onto the podium. Hopefully we can bring you the podium celebrations, and the big crowd will be entertained by what they see above them at this wonderful circuit in the Styrian Mountains. The weather has held off. The forecast for tomorrow is a lot better than it has been, so we're expecting dry weather tomorrow, and Theo Overhaus will start tomorrow's race on pole position. And we'll get the opportunity to do it all again. But we just have those moments where it takes a while for the drivers to work their way up onto the podium. But now, as the teams gather underneath, and we get ready to welcome them. Here's third place, Larry Tenforder. Onto the third step of the podium, that being his 77th podium in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. Second place, Cass Havercourt. Exactly what he needed in the Rookie Championship. By taking the top step overall, he came to win, and that's exactly what he's done. Great Britain's Harry King on the top step of the podium. And now a representative from Allied Racing, that is Robert Golzia, one of the truckies for Allied Racing. Right, national anthem time. Well, that was the short version of the very appropriate God Save the King. So, project manager, customer support at Porsche Germany, Torsten Rückert presenting third place to Larry Tenforder. There's a name from the past, Lauren Heinrich, welcoming him back here. Former champion of Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany, presenting second place to Cass Havercourt. And Tobias Seitz, Chief Marketing Officer of 6th SE, presenting the first place trophy to Harry King. And Tobias will also present for the team as well. Allied Racing, and really nice touch at Allied to get one of their truckies to receive the trophy on behalf of the team. This is a team sport, and great to see them acknowledging that by getting one of the lesser high-profile members of the team onto the podium to receive a trophy. So with the photos being taken, the dignitaries disappear quickly. Very wise indeed. A few more photos, and then the celebrations will start. But the celebrations will soon fade, and soon our attention will turn to tomorrow. It will be the 14th race of a 16-race season on what has been an enthralling season of Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. We're on air from 11:05 local time tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. Join us at the Red Bull Ring. Bye-bye.